Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of CLX Foundry Live, where we dive deep into a custom build and assemble it from the ground up. I'm your host, DJ BluePDX, and joining me of course today is our lead technical expert, Paul Steffens, and today's master builder, Zack. Hi guys.
How are you today?
I am good. I'm awake. That's a plus. So and then I have a dentist appointment this afternoon, so well, yeah. Yep. Absolutely. So real quick thing for everybody who's watching, we've got a great build for Cary in Washington, but first we want to talk about, don't forget to put your points in this community goal for reaching 200,000 stream points in order to drop 200 different entries amidst 2 unlimited codes is almost there. We're so close, so keep popping that money in there. Or not money, keep popping the points in there and we'll get that all taken care of. If you'd like to know more about the giveaway that we're doing, it's !GiveCube, and that's QUBE. And keep your eyes out because we are going to be dropping codes, but you got to be careful and quick to pick them up. So gentlemen, we've got a great show. What is it that we're putting inside of this machine?
All right, so we've got a build for Cary, like you mentioned. He has custom configured a Ra on our website. So starting out, we've got a new Ryzen 7 7700X for the processor. We've got a Gigabyte X670 Aorus Elite motherboard. I think this is the first time on the show that we'll be using that. 32 gigs of DDR5 6000 speed memory, a Radeon RX 7900 XTX for our video card. Ooh. So that's pretty special. 850 watt fully modular EVGA power supply, 10 RGB fans going in a black 011 XL.
So that's gonna look gorgeous.
Fun stuff. Good build. Yeah, so
a lot of fun stuff.
We'll start off like usual. I'll give Zach the board and I'll pull the case up here.
Sounds like a plan. I always love the Ra cases. They're quite versatile in what you can do with them.
They really are. These 011s have worked out really great for us. These and the Evolve X's can't really go wrong there.
Well, it's interesting because when you consider what we've done, well, what you've done, you and the boys have done, when it comes to adding lighting to these, has always been interesting as well. So, in need of temperance says, hello everybody. Hi, how are you? Your Aeropunk is in here. We got Necro. Hello, buddy. By the way, if you have any questions about any of the things that you hear us talk about today, or just about building in general, please make sure you put them in the chat. We're going to get to those as quickly as possible, and we'll make sure that you get as much information as you can out of it. So let's talk about this board. First of all, this board is a Gigabyte X670 Aorus Elite, and it's Rev 1. So there apparently is a Rev 1 and a Rev 1.1, where this is a Rev 1. And it's an incredible board, not only just from the heat sinks, but also from some of the features on it. So Zach or Paul, take it away. What are some of the best things you noticed about this? Let's talk about the extensive heat sink covers. Yeah,
so this is the Gigabyte board. Like you said, this is their Aorus model. This is their higher end, more premium size of board here, or style of board. So we've got a lot of heat sinks all over, a ton of USB ports there. It looks like, what, 12 right there with the Type-C. I really like this big heat sink here. There's some M.2 slots under there. Obviously we've got our primary one here, but the first thing that stands out to me overall is this big handle right here for our clip. I've never seen a clip that big, so it's nice that that's there. You know, we like it when the boards have the button to release the video card, but this is nice too. That having that extended out, it'll be really easy to release that if we have to take the video card out.
Yeah, because it's gonna come in and down as opposed to having it up that top area.
Yeah,
that's smart. Yeah, it's another smart one.
They've basically put a handle on the slot, which is pretty nice.
Grim Attitude, thank you so much for that sub. Welcome in. Good to see you. And yeah, I think I've recovered the question. The question was, do we ever do any builds in the NZXT H9? But I don't believe we carry the NZXT H9s, if I'm not mistaken.
No, we do not.
Okay, there we go. All right. So, of course, going into this is going to be the AMD Ryzen 7700X. This is a really big processor. I mean, it's a very strong processor. Tell us a little bit about this processor.
Yeah, so this is an 8-core, 16-thread processor. It's got a base speed of 4.5 gigahertz, and it'll boost up to 5.4. I'm going to go ahead and go over to our nice, awesome macro lens here, and we'll show this out so you guys can get a good look at it. Let me see here. We'll get it into focus. There we go. Look at that. It's beautiful. You can obviously tell it's the new Ryzen because of the really cool looking heat spreader on it. I like that. And yeah, you can see the gold arrow at the top left there. So that's how we're gonna know how to put it on this motherboard. I'll go ahead and hand this on to Zach and he'll mount it right now.
There we go. We're gonna get that put in there. Just to put it into perspective, the first AMD chip that I ever used in a board was an Athlon XP 1900 Plus. It was a 1.6 gigahertz processor, and I'm pretty sure it was dual core. Nice. Maybe
2 cores.
That was way back in the very beginning, which to this day still baffles my mind how strong these things are getting.
It is. Every year they just get crazier and crazier.
Yep, it's kind of impressive. So right now Zach's getting the brackets ready for the AIO. I'm assuming that we've got an AIO for this.
Yep.
Yes.
And while you're doing that, just to point out a few key features of this board, it's not only got multiple PCIe 5.0s, it's got 4 M.2s, 3 PCI, 4 M.2s, 3 PCI 4.0s, and 4 M.2 with M.2 thermal guards. Which is wild.
It is. I like this one up here. This one looks a little nice. It stands out from the others. Kind of a good indication of on where to put your M.2. And then yeah, we've got 3 PCIe by 16s. You can see the top one here is reinforced with metal to help support the video card. That's becoming pretty much standard on all the boards that we've seen now.
And a good healthy distance between that and the next PCIe down below, so you've got that gap, so you're not losing functionality of the board.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a great observation.
We also see a nice corrugated south bridge down there for heat distribution. And then the big talking point, of course, is the massive north bridge and IO shields.
Yeah, this is a big brick. You could use this as a weapon right here. But it's got our fan plates cut into it for air to flow through.
Yeah. Yeah, that's gorgeous. Absolutely incredible. When we're talking about all things connectivity on this, let's take a look at some of those ports on the back. I just want to cover this here. We've got obviously an HDMI, but we won't need it because we've got that beautiful graphics card. We've got 4 USB 2s, it looks like up top. Four USB 3.2s below. Plus we've got the 2 red USB 3.2s, a USB-C 20 gig, the 2 USB 3.2s down below that are blue, and then you've got your Dragon port that's 2.5 gigs. Wild. So again, as you're looking at this, what is the big difference between the black, the blue, and the red? Yeah,
so that's going to designate which type of USB it is, and just for that, it really shows you which ones are the fast ports. So our 2.0s are obviously these black ones. Everybody's used to seeing those now. That really was a standard. Blue seems to be the new standard, which is 3.0, obviously a lot faster than 2.0 here. And then from 3.0, it's broken down to 3.2 and so on. So these ones are 3.2, so these USB ports are going to be a little bit faster than these ones. And then we have these reds that are even faster than those.
Yeah. I believe those are 10 gigs, which is just, that's an amazing amount of power to be able to push through there.
It is, yeah.
So, and then on top of that, it also has all of the plugins for your ports on the front of the machine. So can you go over real quick what different types of I'm sorry, not on the machine, on the case, what type of different ports are available on the front of that case?
Yeah, so on the front of this case, there we go. We'll get this shot. So
there we go.
You can see 2 of our USBs right here. Then we've got a headset and mic under that and a Type-C. Now down here at the bottom of the case, I'm just gonna lift this up, Jason, try to get it the same. The very bottom here, you can see 2 more USB ports as well.
Nice. Nice. Awesome. Neo Lotus, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. How many SATA points? That is a good question. In need of temperance.
Yeah, so this has 4, right? Yep,
Yep.
we've got, 2 stacks of 2 there on the right side, which might seem like a little bit less than what you expect from a higher end board, but with the new technology now, we're finding those SATA ports aren't used as much. So that's why we're not seeing, you know, 8 to 12 SATA ports on a high end board like you would have seen a couple of years ago.
Yeah. And while he's getting that mounted on, let's talk about your choice for, or their choice for the AIO. That is an Enermax Liqmax 3 RGB 360 closed loop. Now this is a white variant, which is cool. What's the big difference between, say, Enermax and other versions?
So the biggest noticeable difference is going to be the pump itself. They like to put a lot of different types, and you know, some are RGB, some aren't RGB. So just looking at it from a distance, that's the thing that's going to stand out most. Still got a good pump under there, same thing, copper plate under there that's going to, you know, come down on the CPU. But the other thing when you're assembling these, the biggest difference between this and the other AIOs that we use is the way you mount them. So, you know, we had to put a backplate on with screws like normal, but those screws are different. There's washers in between. And then this AIO here, actually on the side, you put in these brackets, this black part that you can see that screw's holding down. You actually mount that to the AIO. Now we have 2 different types, obviously one for Intel, one for AMD. So they come together a little bit different. Enermax's assembly is a little bit more complicated than the others. But other than that, other than those 2 differences, you know, they function pretty, you know, the same.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Up next, looks like, are we going to do, what are we doing next?
Probably do the M.2 next.
Perfect. So the M.2 on this device is going to be a 1 terabyte Samsung 980 Pro PCIe 4.0 NVMe SSD. Now, I don't see that we have a secondary
Yeah, we've
storage
actually got
space.
a 2 terabyte one here. I might have had that down wrong, DJ, so that might be on me.
Ruh-roh.
There we go.
Is it a 2 terabyte?
Yep, we've got a 2 terabyte.
Okay.
I'm pretty jealous of this. 2 terabyte Samsung 980 Pro. I'll show you here.
There we go.
Maybe. Excuse me while I work on getting this in focus. I'm trying. Well, maybe we won't.
Just focus them on me.
Yeah. Like, no, I'd rather look at Zack. All right, there we go. We're going to switch our cameras over. So yeah, 2 terabyte Samsung 980 Pro. Great drive.
Yep, that is what I have in mine.
I wish I had one of these in mine. All right. So
I'm very thankful I did have it, because when my terabyte solid state went out, I thought, well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
And I had all the space to be able to punch that in there and get it all set up.
So this is kind of unique here. This is the first time I've seen this. So Zach's got this M.2 in, and like we've seen before with these plastic pieces that spin around and hold it in instead of a screw, this one is just a tab. I really like that. I like that better than the spin ones. Push it down and then that tab just locks down. That's super easy. I like that.
Yeah, it's great. And then that just slides right back in there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what exactly is under the other one, that other heat shield that's down below it?
Yeah, we'll show you. So what I'm expecting to see is it's just a big, you know, heat shield with a couple thermal pads on it. Now I don't know if we should expect 1 or 2 slots here. Yeah, sorry, 2, maybe 3 even. Yeah, okay.
Oh my
so
God,
we've got
all 3 of them
there.
right there.
Yeah. So
Well,
and
it's kind
all
of
these have
genius
these
because
tabs. I really like that.
Yeah, wow. And that's kind of genius because, you know, there's not a whole lot of things you can use that space that's underneath the graphics card. So it makes sense to put them all right there.
It does, yeah.
Neat. Now, the downside of that is that if you are going to be adding M.2s to your device, you're going to have to uninstall and take out that graphics card to do so.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So, Carrie, if you're watching, keep that in mind. But we won't have to worry about that because there are also other options, including the hot swap bays, which we'll get to here in a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to go ahead and get this RAM out of the box here.
Speaking of the RAM, it is two 16 gig sticks of GSkill DDR5 6000. This is 32 gigs of the fastest RAM on the market.
Yeah, this is crazy fast. 6,000 speed is nuts. It's already DDR5, which is great. Let's get this over here.
Alrighty.
I like the feel of that. This RAM has really good heat spreaders on it. They are a little heavier than you would expect, so that's how you know there's a lot of metal. These are RGB, got a good RGB strip in front of it. And I always like GSkill. The first PC I ever built had GSkill Trident Z, or Trident memory. I don't know if it was Trident Z then, but yeah.
Alrighty. And of course, using slots 2 and 4 to get it started off. For those of you who have never heard about this, talk about why is it you want to use 2 and 4 and not just 1 and 2?
Yeah, so your memory slots are set up into two separate channels. So you want to use that way, you know, it's pulling the memory in the fastest way possible. So if you're not sure where to install your RAM, definitely consult your motherboard manual. It's a pretty safe bet though that if your motherboard has 4 slots and you're using 2 sticks, that you're going to use slot 2 and 4. If you only had 1 stick, you'd be using slot 1, but always, you know, consult your motherboard manual just to make sure of that. Yeah, there is printing on the actual board itself. You can see there where Zack's pointing to with the screwdriver, and that will show you that labels the slots for you.
Gotcha. Good to know. Good information to know.
You want to do fans on the radiator or mount the case? Okay.
So, first of all, there's a lot of people who have been new to the show and just coming in. So for them, let's discuss the different ways to cool a processor.
Yeah, so there's quite a few different options in cooling your processor, but it can be broken down into basically 2 categories. You've got air cooling and liquid cooling. So obviously what we're using here is liquid cooling. We've got a radiator with coolant in it that this pump is going to pump the fluid through, and these fans are going to cool the fluid. Air cooling would be an actual fan on top of a heatsink that's mounted here. You've probably seen that. Usually some processors will come with a stock fan that has some sort of metal and fan on top of it. There are aftermarket ones you can buy that perform better. So if you are wanting to air cool, but you're wanting better than the stock cooler, you know, there's plenty of options out there. Liquid cooling though, you're going to get the best performance. And then within liquid cooling, you've got closed loop and open loop. We're doing a closed loop right now. Obviously, we're not opening this up. This is an AIO, which stands for all-in-one. So all the coolant is in here. We just put it on and it works. An open loop would be a system with custom tubes. They can be hard or soft. We do build those here as well. Those are a lot more labor intensive, but they do come out looking amazing. They're those showcase builds that you see with all the cool pipes flowing through them and different water blocks.
Awesome. Now you've got the fans going on this side. How many different ways are there of cooling this radiator?
So there's 3 ways we could put fans on this radiator. We could do a push, which is what we're doing on this, a pull, which would mean the fans were on the other side, or a push pull, which means we have fans on both sides of the radiator. So I've got a fan here in my hand. So it's always best if you're going to be putting fans on one side of the radiator to be pushing air through it. You're going to get the best cooling that way. If you have to pull air through it, that'll still work, but pushing air through is preferred. So to know which way the air is going to blow out of your fan, if you're looking at your fan here, this pretty side is what I would call it. And then you have this side with the fan grill that, you know, you can see the actual fan grill itself. So whatever side the fan grill on, that's where the air is going to come out of. So if you're looking at a fan and it looks like this, you can see some sort of grill. That's where the air is going to come out of. If it looks like this, that's where the air is coming in. Back in the day, there used to be arrows printed on the side of the fans that would point the direction of airflow and the direction of fan rotation. But really, once you know the fan grill's here, it's easy to tell which way the air is going to go.
Yeah.
You should be good to drop.
All right, we're gonna drop this board into the case. I'll pick this up here.
Sweet. Again, this is what I think one of our favorite cases to build in for me. There's so much to see and so much functionality in it.
There is, yeah. This
especially
case
with
has a lot of good
that
options.
that 2/3 mounting design is very smart. So got to get that thing, you got to get the IO lined up into the hole right, and everything else should be into the right spot. So so let's make sure everybody understands how to identify which ports you're going to be screwing into, which ones have the stands, and why those are important.
Yeah, so when you're mounting a motherboard into a case, the first thing you want to check is obviously your standoffs, which is what's under the motherboard that Zack is screwing those screws into right now. That gives a little bit of gap between the motherboard and the actual frame of the case so that we're not shorting out anything on the motherboard. This case comes with the ATX standoffs pre-installed. We obviously look in there every time just to make sure, but we should have 3 at the top, 3 in the middle, and 3 on the bottom. And the easy way to tell from looking at your motherboard which holes to use for that is they've got kind of silver surrounding them. Sometimes it's all around. On this Gigabyte board, it's kind of a half circle. Some of these it's all the way, but you can pretty clearly tell if we just go to this top one. You can see those metal little solder joints right there under these mounting points.
Got it. Perfect. Now, this is an ATX case, correct?
Correct.
And so it has to be matched with an ATX board. What different types of cases and boards are there, and why is it important that you make sure that you have one that matches your case?
Yeah, so that's referred to as the form factor, and the biggest thing there is, so this is an ATX case and an ATX board. Now, an ATX case can take a smaller form factor board, but obviously a big form factor motherboard cannot fit in a small form factor case. So there's mainly four different types of form factors. Sometimes there's some weird ones, but the 4 are ATX, which is the most standard. That's what we're doing here, a full size. Then you have a size above that is EATX, which is the same height as this board, but it's extended. That's what the E means. So it comes out a little bit further. It's a little bit wider than this board. Then going from there, we have MATX, which is smaller, and then ITX, which is even smaller. So the ITX are those really small systems you see. Some people use them for like a box under their TV, like a little stream unit or something like that. So we could fit an ITX board in this chassis. It would just look really weird. We'd have this tiny square with this big video card. The video card would probably be bigger than the motherboard if we did that.
Gotcha. We're getting that all mounted up into the top. Now, since it's on its side, can you pull out that bottom filter? Let's show everybody how this unique functional filtration system goes.
So every opening around this case has filters. So for the bottom here, it's a little tray that just slides out like this. And this is your dust filter, because we are going to have our intake fans down here at the bottom. And so to clean this, you can just pull this out of the tray, wipe it down. We do have magnetic filters for the top and back of this as well. We'll show those when we assemble it. Really easy to take off and clean. Just wipe them down, rinse them off, whatever you need to do to get that dust out there. Slide them back in, and that's it. So very easy design. Really like to do this.
All right, getting that radiator almost finished.
Yeah, so we've got our AIO mounted here now.
Nice.
And now we're going to be doing a little bit of cables.
Just get this open for now.
Now, those panels usually stay on there unless you've got a larger number of fans. But so we're putting fans on there. Is there anything else that those plates can be used for, or that space can be used for?
Yeah, so you'll see on these plates, you're looking at these, you see these 4 holes here. I guess I need a white background for this. We'll use this paper. So you can see the 4 holes there. You can mount a 2.5-inch SSD on there.
Nice.
There's a lot of other options as well to mount these. It would be, you'd have to have a lot of SSDs if you wanted to use this, but this is there for that. Now, mostly it's there to keep good airflow if we aren't mounting fans there.
There we go. One thing to notice while we're plugging all these in, that's actually a great spot for those fan headers, is the 2/3 design. We talk about this often whenever these cases are utilized. And so if you'll notice, unlike some other designs, this motherboard doesn't sit against the very back of the case. It sits about 2/3 of the way back. it has, it's obviously you've got that slope next to it, so you've got all those rubber grommets that are used for the cable management, and then you've got those 2 slots in the back. Now there are 3 doors on here. Can you tell me what those 3 doors are for on the back of this case?
Yeah, so starting from the bottom here, you'll see this one, we've got a hole open here. This is where we're gonna mount our power supply. So the reason for that is it keeps all the cables back here, and then all the heat from this power supply, it's gonna get its own intake from this side and exhaust it out the back. So none of the heat from the power supply is gonna make it into the main portion of the case. Going above there, we've got 2 bays here. These are for 2.5 inch and 3.5 inch drives. And then what's really cool about this case, and I'll show you because we have an example, these bays that are in here actually have SATA power and SATA data cables coming out the back that you can see Zach's already plugged in here. And those are hot swappable bays. So you can just slide a drive into that tray and it will automatically connect. Like I said, Zach had taken one of these bays out of another case so we could use it up here. So this is a really good example. When you're ready, Jason, if we can, I'll try this on the macro shot. I don't think we've tried this on the shot before. So perfect. So you can see this is one of those bays that's just uninstalled. Now we've obviously taken the trays out so you can see it a little better. But if you look deep in there, you can see the 2 SATA ports. So when you slide in your hard drive tray, it's just going to automatically plug into there.
That makes things so much easier.
Yeah, it really does. And then I'll show you the cables here on the back so you can see those as well. So you can see we've got 1 SATA power right here, this big connector, and then 2 SATA datas for each one. So that's what will power this. And we plug these in even if we're not using these, we plug these in here. That way if the customer ever wants to install a drive, all they have to do is just take a tray out, put the drive in the tray and slide it in. They don't have to worry about running cables for it or anything like that.
Nice. Awesome. That makes it so much easier.
It really does. It's probably the best thing about this case, in my opinion.
Would you call it a game changer?
Yeah, game changer.
Wow.
For sure.
Yes. Yes, it's a game changer. There we go. Dang it. That was really good too.
I'm sorry. Y'all.
Still DJs.
Got everybody in chat talking about food.
Oh,
I had bangers and mash last night.
Bangers and mash.
Nice.
Yep.
And my wife made some Greek chicken. It was delicious with some yellow rice.
Nice.
I see someone talking about eggs for breakfast or lunch. I am not a fan of eggs. I will eat them because they're healthy. I like hard-boiled eggs, but like scrambled eggs over easy. I'll like order them because I love the idea of like, yeah, it's a really good breakfast, bacon and eggs, and I'll take like 2 bites of the eggs and just eat the bacon.
Yeah, if they're overdone, the rubbery. I will say that I also love poached eggs.
Poached eggs, okay. I will eat those. Yeah, yep.
They're sloppy,
and I like
but they're
the eggs
good.
in ramen. Like those. What are they? Soft-boiled eggs. Those are really good. I just don't like eggs just by themselves, I think.
Yeah. Ooh. Dirty Yankee brings up a very good one. Deviled eggs, especially a spicy deviled egg. Mmm.
Yeah, deviled eggs are good. Add some mayonnaise to my eggs. Let's go.
Yep, eggs Benedict. So long as the hollandaise sauce is done correctly, if it's, oftentimes you'll end up with it they just pour hollandaise sauce everywhere. It's too much. You need a moderate amount, not a whole lot.
It has a strong taste, right? Like I've had that a couple times. I think that hollandaise sauce has a pretty strong flavor in it.
Yeah. Yep. You're making Dublin Koodle tonight. Nice. I don't know how a tech show turned into food, but now we're all hungry. Nicole says scrambled eggs need to be cooked correctly to taste. Yes, they do.
They do.
If I'm gonna do scrambled eggs, I want them usually from my mom's chickens, just because for whatever reason, my mom's chickens make the best. They produce the best eggs. So
nice. And like scrambled eggs in a burrito, obviously amazing. Can't
God, yeah.
There. I always like
hungry.
Whip my eggs up, so I'll make them like on the weekends because my kids, they love scrambled eggs. My wife does too, so I'll make them. I just won't eat them that much. Uh-oh.
Code drop.
You got a code? Oh man.
KTR5 used up.
10 people. Better get in there,
10
guys.
people. Jump in it. Jump on it. Let's go. Oh my goodness, it's a code drop. Cube KTR5. Don't forget to make sure to have that page. Oh, all used up. Damn. The second it dropped, it was really gone.
There they go. Gotta be
That
quick.
was a fast one, man.
Ivory's gonna be that old dude with the code on the end of a fishing rod. You know,
Oh, yeah.
like the dollar bill. Whatever insurance.
Oh yeah, I would
commercial that was.
imagine people have double windows open.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so my recommendation is, if you've got the page open, have the code already QUBE dash ready to go, and then all you gotta do is put in the final 4. Don't take time to copy and paste. Just punch it in, let it rip. Oh. But speaking of codes, there are multiple different places you can get codes for this giveaway, and just remember, it only takes one code to win. We're giving away codes not only on each of our shows here, which is Tuesday and Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific, that's 2 Eastern for our Foundry Live show. We've also got codes that are given out inside of our Discord at discord.gg/CLX Gaming. We've also got codes that are dropped on social, which is like YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter at CLX Gaming. You can also get codes over on my Twitch channel at DJ BluePDX. So lots of different options, lots of different ways. But don't worry, we've got more coming up. All right. So what is what are you working on now, Zach?
Finishing up the case cables. Once I'm done with this, then we can transfer to the fan lines.
Gotcha. Now with 10 fans, I feel like we're gonna have to get several different controllers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're gonna have 2 different fan boxes here. I'm gonna grab those real quick. Thank you, Zach. So Zach's prepped this fan box. This is what we like to do if we've got more than 8 fans. So with these fans comes a fan controller box that they all plug into, and then this has a SATA power, and it's also controlled with a remote. But each one of these fan controllers can only take 8 fans. They do include a cable where you can daisy chain them together, so that's what we do. We've got 2 daisy chained together, all neatly bundled here. And this allows us to fill up 8 fans on one, and then use the other 2 slots for the 2 other fans. And they'll all be synced up and controlled with the same remote.
Gotcha. Nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
It's also interesting how, like, 'cause I remember when Hayden talked about this, I don't know, maybe it was Hayden or Zach, who we had on a Fantex case, and the way that you want to align them are different because that case doesn't have nearly the depth that the O11 does.
Right, yeah. You kind of do want to think ahead to where this is going to be put in the case, since it is a little bit thicker. These O11s have a great channel down the middle for cable management, and this will easily fit back there.
Yeah, absolutely. I do know that I will be giving out a code tomorrow on stream. Tomorrow's Friday stream. Nice. And then I have one going into my subscriber section of the Discord, so all of my subs in my channel will get a chance to get that code. And then I will be giving out my final 5 code, just 5, on the Friday of March 31st, which is the last day you can enter it. So 5 people will get an extra 100 codes on my stream on Friday. But
Nice.
Since we're not going to be here, not the weekend after this, because we're going to be in Boston. So we're going to be we'll go over in Boston for PAX East amidst a snowstorm.
Is there really supposed to be a snowstorm next weekend?
Yeah.
There's a nor'easter hitting now.
Oh no. Okay, good. It can hit now.
Yeah.
Go away.
It can hit now.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to bring my snow boots.
Oh, bro, it has never been warm in Boston for PAX ever.
Oh really?
And if it has been a decent temperature, the wind chill alone just takes it away from you.
Yeah, we're used to wind chill.
Yeah, we got a lot of wind here at least.
Yep.
But
Wait, never ever. So wait, Kensu's 52. We've got War Machine Lord's only a few years behind. Well, that makes me feel less old. So I thank you for that. So, because I'm 47. I'll be turning 48 this year.
dang.
Like 408 or what?
40 freaking 8. I'll say
man.
that. I refuse to accept that. I'm sorry, but this is not my. I don't feel 48. But yeah, I don't feel 47 to be fair. That's like 36 is starting right now. Yeah, I woke up this morning and it was 29 degrees outside. Frost everywhere, clear skies, but cold. And I got to walk to the dentist, which is a good walk. It's going to be a couple miles, so getting my exercise in.
I like our morning better. Woke up, it was 60
It was
outside.
so nice out, and then it's supposed to snow tonight. It's like you walk in, you're like, I didn't need a jacket today on the way to work, and then you leave, you're like, where's my jacket? How did it get later in the day and colder?
Yeah, that's always bonkers. And then we've got an atmospheric river showing up late today or tomorrow. So yeah. And I do want to address something that was said earlier about the no power tools. That's only for Hayden. It's we've conscripted him to not be able to use power tools. Evens the race up a little bit. Now, since we've got this back picture here, before we get the majority of that cable management going in there, can you go over some of the importance and value that's added by having those fans there when it comes to airflow?
Yeah, absolutely.
In the back of the case.
So you can see, like we talked about with the fans earlier, we're seeing the clean side or the pretty side of the fan, so we know air is going to be coming in this way. So these 3 fans are going to be extra intake, and let me grab the back panel, or at least the magnetic filter for it real quick. Well, I'll just grab the whole panel. We can
just
show
grab the whole back panel, yeah.
All right, so, and we can talk a little bit about the power supply as well, even though it's not in. So we showed you that hole earlier. Actually, we can go back to that other shot, Jason, the side one here. Perfect. This was the hole we were talking about. So our power supply is going to sit right here. And this is our back panel that's going to go over it. So you can see the perforations on both sides. So oops, sorry, Zach. So our power supply is going to be bringing in air through here and exhausting out the back, and these 3 intake fans are going to be bringing air in through here. So when I turn this around, you can see the magnetic filters here. And this is all they are. They're just magnetic. They sit on these bays right here. And so if you're going to clean it, all you got to do is take this panel off, peel these back, take them off, clean them, put them back on. And
I mean, Zach, and to speak on that, Zach's fast enough already, but we can, you know, generally keep up with each other on that level. Hayden's first build, I sounded like a tobacco auctioneer. And it's just because he
gets in the zone, you know.
And I was like, I can't. And that's me saying I can't talk fast enough. When I can't talk fast enough, there's a problem. Alrighty.
Now we're used to cranking PCs out here, so everybody here, we're all used to like, all right, let's go fast. And so when we get on the show, we're like, oh yeah, we're not necessarily going for speed here. We got to slow it down a little bit. So kind of.
Oh my God, that would be an amazing TikTok, Zombie Ring. That's something you guys should do, is take quick snaps of people popping RAM in to the boards, all of those, and just make a giant TikTok of it.
Just click,
just have it mic'd really, really well.
That'd be nice.
You got a tornado watch in northern Texas? Good Lord.
We'll go outside and watch it.
Yeah, let us know when it turns to a warning.
I've lived in California. I've lived in the South. I've lived in the Northeast, and I'm right here in the Pacific Northwest because this is where the least amount of ridiculous happens.
Oh yeah.
In the Southwest, you've got hurricanes. Or in Southeast, you've got hurricanes. In the South, you've got tornadoes. And in some spots, you get both, which is awful because that is something giant, it is natural, it is never going to stop. In California, you've got earthquakes and drought, or in this case, massive flooding because it rained for 5 minutes. And then in the central part of the West Coast, you've got all the fires. And in some cases, that hits us too in the Pacific Northwest, which is wild. But I would say of all the places that I've lived, and the Northeast just gets too cold for me. Just gets way too cold for me. Here, like when it's, I mean, we're lucky if, like this year, we had a lot more snow than we've had in the recent past, and it was in the 20s, upper teens. But you get into, when I lived in Chicago, so quick Navy story. I went to boot camp in Orlando. I was the last graduating class out of the Orlando ROTC Recruit Training Center, and we closed that base down. I'd been there for 4 months in the Florida heat. We'd already had a hot summer in Oregon when I went there, so I'd been in hot temperatures for 8-9 months at this point, or I would say 8 months at this point. And I flew from Orlando to Chicago and landed at the beginning of the worst blizzard they said they'd had in a very long time. I mean, with the wind chill, it was like -60, and of course our base sits on Lake Michigan, and I'd never gotten pneumonia so quickly in my entire life. Just, and of course I'm somebody was satisfied and completely not sweating my brains out in a, you know, in a short sleeve shirt and jeans when it's 98 degrees outside because I've lived in Florida for that long. Nope. Get to Chicago and I was like, oh my God, I can't get my jacket out of my sea bag fast enough. Oh my God. All right, so now we've got those hanging down there. And what's the next process we're working on?
All right, so a lot of the cables have been managed and tied up. We're gonna do a few more things, but as you can see, Zack is plugging in the RGB cable for this AIO here. It does sit on top. You can see that white cable coming out that we've already plugged in. That's for the pump power itself, but it does have a separate cable for the RGB on this AIO. So that's what Zack's working on right now. Got that plugged in and routing it out the back. You can, it's very hard to see, but you can see the little black cable right here. It's running alongside that white one. When it moves, you can see it a little bit better, but Zack's done a really good job of hiding it.
Also, just to point out, like the way that those, I like how sleek and matte finished those front heat sinks are. The North Bridge and the IO heat sink. It's a very clean look. Yo, we hit 75% of our community goal. What?
Nice.
What do we hit? Let's go. Woohoo! 151,000 points. We're on our way to 200,000. And as a reminder, real quick, we have only a few shows left. We've got this show on Tuesday, and then we fly out Wednesday for PAX. So we'll have no show on Thursday. We fly back in over the weekend, and I'm flying in on Monday. So we've got our show on Tuesday and Thursday. Those are the last 2 shows of the month. So we got 3 shows left to get that final 49,000 community points at a max of 2,000 per person. Yeah, that's. I think we can pull this off. Yeah. I honestly think we can pull this off.
Make sure you're getting those in. I got 2,000 from mine in here, so that'll help you guys out a little bit.
Dirty Yankee mentioned when I lived in Alaska was the best 70-degree summers and no tornadoes or storms. Now, here's the question. That's summers. How about winter? Because, oh my Lord. I've only been to Alaska one time. I was flying through and it was absurd.
It's not called
and it was like
Alaska.
January. It was the middle of January. It was just, good Lord, so cold. Now up to 153,000. We're getting there already, people. This is gonna be awesome. All right, so Zack's working on our cable management.
Moving it, Jason.
Here we go. And since we haven't really talked about it yet, and can we pop back over to the other shot? I just want to show that we also have a magnetic filter for the top of the case. It's going to go right on top of that. Now, since that is an exhaust, right? Air's being pushed out of that. Is that collected via static, or how does that work?
So there will be some dust that gets through the radiator. You can see I have the top panel right here. It's obviously going to sit like this with our perforations there, and our magnetic filter is going to go right on the case here. There won't be a lot of dust that comes through here. Most of that from the inside is going to be caught on the radiator, but that's why we have the other filters around the case to filter out that dust in the first place. This is something though you can take off and clean. When you're cleaning all of your filters, this will always be the cleanest one since it is around the exhaust, but still same concept, really easy to pull out and do.
Yeah. So, just gonna give a fair warning. We're gonna go to the website next. Speaking of things you can pull out and do, let's talk about how you can pull up our website and order yourself a PC. At CLXgaming.com, we try and make it as effortless and easy as possible to find your way into the right PC that's gonna meet your needs. With our unique custom browser, we have allowed and custom build tools, we allow you the opportunity to choose everything you want, whether it's AMD or Intel, NVIDIA or ARC. You choose how you want to build it. And don't worry, you don't have to be an expert on this. We have a way built in so that we can actually help you in the event that you happen to choose two incompatible parts. Notice where it says add to cart. That's actually going to change to solve conflict. And when you click that button, it's going to tell you exactly how to solve the conflict. So for this, it would be memory is DDR4, but the board is a DDR5, or it's different speeds. This is 3200, what you need is 4800 or 7800. So it allows you to fix it so you don't have to worry about it not functioning well. On top of that, if you really don't feel like, you're comfortable jumping through those kind of decisions, don't worry. We have expertly crafted and designed pre-built, ready-to-ship models that are tested and already looking for a new home. Of so many different scales, whether you're looking for a low tier, mid-tier, or high tier, we have all of those options available. Plus, at the very last edge of the screen, when you see the final element in your custom build screen, is where you can actually order jackets like this. I keep getting everybody windbreakers like this. I just want to show everybody because I keep getting asked that, where'd you get it? Where'd you get it? Under accessories at the very beginning, this is our clothes shop. So if you're ordering a PC, don't worry. We're going to be able to hook you up with some pretty cool stuff. And all you got to do is add that to your order, just like that. So for all of your computer needs, whether it's peripherals or more, check it out. CLXgaming.com. Nice. That was a smoother one. I like that. Yeah. That went well. So you're pulling right now the power supply. That's a 850 watt EVGA Supernova GT, right? Mm-hmm. And it is an 80 plus gold power supply. So, and I know that you've explained this a bajillion times, but let's go over it one more time. What is the big difference between a bronze, silver, a gold, a platinum, a titanium?
Yeah, so what that is, so it's an 80 plus rating, and that's kind of a third party rating system. So it starts with just 80 plus. The emblem will be white, no color associated with it. Then going up from there, you have, so the base 80 plus, then you have 80 plus bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and titanium. And what that refers to is even at the base, the power supply has to meet an 80% efficiency rating at 3 different loads. So that's usually 10% or 25%, 50%, and 100%.
Gotcha.
So that's what that is. So the 80 plus base is 80% efficiency at those loads. And then going up, so bronze would be a little bit more, usually around 82%, silver more than that, and so on and so on. And so what that refers to is the amount of power that your power supply is taking out of the wall versus how much is actually being used in the system.
Gotcha. Nice. There we go.
And so this is a fully modular power supply. So you can see when we're getting it out of the box here, the cables are a completely separate bundle than the power supply brick itself.
How many different types of power supplies are there?
So you've got 3 different types, at least for cabling. You've got fully modular, which is what this is, no cable soldered in. Semi-modular, which has a few cables soldered in. And then non-modular, which all the cables are soldered in. We've done all sorts of builds with the different sizes on the show. But we prefer to use the fully modular. We really like these. It really helps cable management. And just looks a lot cleaner overall. Now this is an area of a build where you can save some money. So this is 850 watt 80 plus gold. So if we had a non-modular 850 watt 80 plus gold, it should perform the same as this, even though it's non-modular. It will be a little bit cheaper, so if you're looking for an area to save some money on your build, that's a good place to start without losing performance. But if your budget can allow it, this is the way to go, a fully modular one. You can see we've got all the ports in here. So Zach's got the cables right now, and another perk to a fully modular design is he's plugging in his CPU cables, and he'll probably plug in his 24-pin cables without even having the power supply in the system.
I just want you to plug in.
Missed something about pausing. There we go. Shasta's in the house. Hello, Dangerous Ranger. I almost thought it said Ginger. I'm like, no, Dangerous Ranger. There we go. We're not, yeah. Sorry. I don't know where ginger came from. I read that, looked at it, and thought, that's not the word ginger, but I'm going to try not to say it anyways. Okay. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is not the power supply, is the graphics card, because this is a monster graphics card for AMD. This is the AMD Radeon RX 7900 XTX. This is a 24 gig graphics card. And, who made this variant? Well, actually, does AMD have a variant system like NVIDIA does?
Yeah, they do. So with this new round, it's a little bit different, and it might change, you know, once these get more popular. But there's a few different brands that will make these, but they're all going to throw the Radeon cooler on top of it. So it's very hard to tell which one it is. You can get into the part numbers and get there that way. But this is going to look like the AMD's model for this. So you can see, I really like this design. I think we did one of these when these first launched. This card is a lot heavier than what you think it would be, but I really like the size. It's pretty much a standard 2-slot, probably a 2.5 slot card, but it's not super long, so it should fit in any case really fine. 2 8-pin connectors, which I really like, as opposed to, you know, 4 8-pins going into a 12-pin power connector using an adapter. I really like this. And I just like the overall look of it. They've got the nice subtle red to go along with the team red there. The fans are good. We'll have a little bit of RGB lighting right here around the logo.
Nice.
But yeah, overall, I love the size of the card. This is my choice for size.
Now, the PCB isn't super visible on that. I mean, oh, there it is.
We can only, if we look at the bottom here, we can see it.
That seems to be a pretty long PCB compared to the way some others are designed.
Yeah, so they're using the full length here for their PCB. Sometimes we'll see the PCB come out to right before that last third fan, and then this will all be open heatsink area for the fan to blow all the heat out of.
Oh, sorry, Jason.
And so while you're doing, since you've got it out there, why don't we jump into that other graphics card and show them what it looks like when you pull these things apart.
Yeah, so we've got our handy dandy 1050 Ti here that is dead and out of warranty, so we get to play with it and take it apart. So what I've done here, just to compare, we'll use the bottom side of the card, since that's the part where we can see the PCB on this card, to really do the comparison here. So you can see the PCB, that kind of orange line probably looks orange to you guys right here. This is obviously the length of this card we're using, and this is the 1050 Ti, so it's a little bit shorter. But most of the card is going to be all about dealing with the heat. So if you take out the screws, we can pull these fans off and our heat shield as well. So if we did this with our Radeon card would be this thin. It would obviously be longer, but it wouldn't be any thicker than this.
Gotcha. Yeah, and then what that's 1050. What was the? Oh wow, there we go.
Yeah, so
yeah,
this is the bulk of the card. Like when you're holding a card, the size is all about dealing with the heat sink that you can see these pipes going in, and then the fans to blow that heat away.
Awesome.
So.
Now, on Tuesday's show, you had mentioned that sometimes there are differences with the way that the heat sinks are designed. Some of them use copper, some use aluminum. Based on the weight, what do you think this Radeon is?
This is definitely going to have some copper pipes in it. I'd bet my life on it, just with the weight of this card.
And copper is not only heavier than aluminum, it also it disperses heat faster.
Yeah,
dissipates heat faster. There's the word.
Yep, it'll dissipate heat faster, which on a high-end card like this card's obviously going to be running really fast. It's going to generate a lot more heat, so I doubt we'd ever really see an aluminum heat sink on this high end of a card. So yeah, the aluminum's usually for the mid to lower end cars, and it's a way to make the card a little bit cheaper and also deal with the heat effectively.
Potter Doe, thank you so much for that Prime sub. We appreciate it. Doc Chaos does have an interesting question. Could you theoretically mount a liquid cooler block to that GPU to attain better cooling?
Yeah, so we do that a lot with our open loop systems. If our customers order a GPU open loop, we'll actually take all the heat shroud off like you saw me do on the 1050 Ti and attach a monoblock to it, and then we'll hook up tubes. Now that's for an open loop system, pretty high end. What you can do, or what you can order on some of these high-end cards, third parties will make an AIO that, just like what we're using for our CPU here, that's built into the video card. So you can buy a video card with a radiator coming out of it, which is pretty cool.
Nice. Now, how would that be? Would that also need to have fans attached to it? And okay.
So everyone that I've seen them do they've come with fans built in. They don't necessarily screw on like how we do here. They usually put a really good high efficiency fan on it that's somehow mounted in a way that's hard to take off. And then you would mount it, in a fan spot. It's usually going to be one fan, so a 120. I have seen some with 240, but that's really uncommon. But let's say this build did have it. We would have our video card mounted where it usually is. And then that 120 radiator we'd mount in the back here.
Gotcha.
So that can look kind of cool when you've got like two separate radiators in your system.
Definitely. Yeah, that'd be a wild thing to see.
Hot dog right now because his back end's looking good.
Oh yeah.
But you couldn't. My guess is that it would be very difficult to fit two AIOs into one build.
Yeah, you definitely got to have the room for it. Now, this case you could, and it's really about where you want to mount it. So, worst case scenario, you could mount your AIO for your video card in like a not the best situation. But to get the most out of it, you obviously want your pump at the lowest part of the loop. So you would want, your video card somewhere down here where it would usually mount, and then the AIO to be somewhere up top. So like with this case, we'd have room here, but depending on your case, it might not fit. Or if you just want to go total jank, you can just lay the radiator inside your case, but probably don't recommend that.
Please don't do that, people. Please do not do that.
Have it hanging out the side panel.
I mean, granted, that being said, I'm fairly certain that's happened at some point.
Yeah, yeah. My 2.5-inch SSDs are definitely just laying inside my case, plugged in with SATAs. So, yeah.
That's funny.
That's good.
All right, Zach's got seems to be very happy and satisfied with the way this is going presently.
Yeah, we're gonna show this cable management here. We don't even need the cable management panel. The thing looks so good.
Look at that. That is incredible. And other thing to point out real quick is the feet that come on the Lian Li, which gives it a great area, a great gap to pull that fresh air in through those bottom fans. One thing you want to make sure that you're not doing if you get a computer like this is please don't put them on the carpet, because that's going to block your airflow significantly. It also could lead to potential damage caused by static electric shock. What are some ways to avoid that when you're setting up where you're going to be placing your PC?
Yeah, so if you gotta have your PC sitting on carpet, I do that at home. My PC's in my basement, which is carpeted. So what I do is I cut out a rectangle piece of cardboard that's a little bit bigger than the size of my case, and I just set my case on top of that, on top of the carpet. And you can use wood, tiles, anything that's hard that when you set your PC on it will compress the carpet. That way you still get that inch or two gap for your PC to get fresh air in.
Gotcha. Yeah, the white tubing, by the way, on this is going to look so good when the lights hit it.
It really does pop. All right, Zach's going to go ahead and mount our video card now.
And luckily, we're going to be able to see that. I think we might even be able to see that little handle pop up.
Yeah, that little handle sticking out. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
You should see that. You should hear a click, and then you'll see that pop up. There you go.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah, that actually, the fact that they're really making these that much easier to get in and out is wonderful. Now, you said that this was a heavy card. Will this require an anti-sag device?
So this one will not. Since it's short enough, we are not going to have to put an anti-sag bracket in here. Now, if this thing was, if we get it up and testing and we are seeing it droop a little bit, we will put one in. But we've done these builds without them before. Now, when we do ship the system, we do have packing foam that comes in. We pop one side and the chemicals mix, and then it expands around to the insides of the case. So when this thing does ship, it will have that foam inside, protecting it and holding it secure.
Now, you said testing. What do you mean?
Yeah, great question, DJ. So this system, along with any system we do, the systems that we just sent to packs, giveaway builds, customer builds, every build we do here, once it's done being assembled, it goes into our testing and integration department. And we do a few things in there. So the first thing we do is get into the BIOS, and we'll make sure that your RAM speed's set correctly, all of our storage drives are showing up. And then depending on the OS, we might have to change a few settings in there. We'll get the BIOS all squared away. Then after that, we'll load the operating system, any games the customer would like us to load. And then from there, we stress test the system for 12 hours. We have a few different benchmarking softwares that we use for that. The main one is 3D Mark, but we use Furmark, Prime 95 on some systems, kind of whatever we think the system needs. And we do that for 12 hours, and that allows us to catch any defective component that we may have got from the factory. So say this stick of RAM, when we got it from the factory, maybe it was defective, but it's still allowing the system to boot. It's just under load, that's when it fails. The 12-hour burn-in will allow us to catch that, replace it here, and make sure that we deliver a stable system.
Nice. Awesome. And of course, that happens with every system that you guys do. Not just custom builds, but also all of the ready-to-ship builds are put under the exact same strain. So, and one other nice thing to point out that we've oftentimes I failed to bring up is the fact that the installations from CLX are what we call a clean Windows build. These are just straight up Windows, no bulk software, no
bloatware. You're not going to get some
no bloatware.
McAfee antivirus on here that you don't want. It's just going to be a clean build. You'll be able to do whatever you want with it. That's definitely one of the things we pride ourselves on here, is not installing that bloatware.
Yep, fully agree.
You won't open up your Google Chrome browser and have 20 different toolbars and all that good stuff.
And BC Murray mentions that he asked if we could do some videos of the BIOS OS software install. That might be an interesting YouTube video to record, since it's, it takes time, and that way you can just edit it down so that it's a real quick, this is what we're doing, this is how we look for it.
Yeah, well, that would be something we should definitely look into. It would be pretty cool to do. How we load our systems here is with a server. We have a server built that we load it from, so it's over a network. So we'd have to find a way to like screen record or something like that from it.
Yeah.
Because it probably wouldn't look too good if we just had a camera recording the monitor of us doing it. But it would be pretty cool. It's a really intense process that looks super like complicated when you're in the BIOS, but once you get it down, it's really not that bad.
Zach's over here just dancing around. He's
nice
so proud of himself right now.
That looks good.
I saw that, was like, oh God, what's happening? I love it. Alrighty.
Sweet. Well, yeah, the cables have been managed. We will go ahead. Let's go ahead and throw this panel on the back. We can show you how this goes on.
Yeah. Why is this important to have on this build?
So you can see this is the panel we're going to be throwing on. You can see it's got this kind of side cut out here, and this is going to allow for good airflow as well. So this side's going to go into the side of the fans and just allow it to look good and also have airflow be smooth. And you can see these holes here. These are also for more 2.5-inch drive options. So plenty of options.
Would those
on this one
go on the inside or outside of that? I think they would go underneath. Yep. Okay. Awesome. Alrighty. Get those on, all 4 of them. And then it looks like we are ready for the panels.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. There we go. It's all up and ready to go. We'll get the back put on. That top filter put on. There we go. Of course, the RAWs do come in multiple different colors and designs. If you haven't already taken a look at our specialty page, type !special, and you'll see some of our special edition PCs that are absolutely amazing. Great colors, great designs, great concepts, and not nearly as difficult to obtain as it is to pull the plastic off of this glass.
Yeah, look at this. Oh, yes. Let's go, Lian.
Did you do it? Oh my
God.
Look at it. Look at that.
Minimal effort required.
That was the fastest you have ever done that.
Yeah, no kidding. Zack's a pro at this, though. Now, this one on the inside, this is the tough one, I think. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Let me trade you. I've got that corner started there, so hopefully you can get there. I'm going to clean this front panel. Bam. Those are the Lian Lee demons coming out of the side panel right there.
Oh my gosh. And there we go. Look at that. The only other piece to remove is that one on the front of the system. We are good to go. Now the moment of truth. Yeah, I do like the way that the end is actually, so as you can see right there, the butt of the graphics card has, it's got a solid housing on it. It's not just open.
Yeah.
I really like the way that that looks clean when you have something that's fully formed around the back end.
Yeah, they designed that card really well. It feels great, it's a good size, and it looks really good too.
Yep. Must behold the viping. There we go. Error code, he's not wearing gloves. Well, not everybody has to wear gloves. All right.
Right there, Jason.
Coming down to the moment of truth. We're going to plug it in and see what happens. All righty. Making sure everything gets into the right spot.
We're getting the beautiful money shot ready.
We're at 158,000 already. I'm excited to see what happens on Tuesday's show. And the drum roll, please. Okay. Right, Aeropunk? I know. We're gonna have to start hatening him.
Alrighty, here we go. Yep, Zack's gonna get his power tools taken away next.
All right, let's do this. And he, oh, damn! That looks so good.
Look at that thing.
That looks so good. There goes the RAM. Woohoo! That is a gorgeous, gorgeous build. All right, Carrie in Washington, congratulations. This is your build. And let's go over one more time what's inside this amazing machine. This is an AMD Ryzen 7700X processor mounted in a Gigabyte X670 Aorus Elite ATX board. It has 32 gigs. That's two 16 gig sticks of GSkill DDR5 6000 RAM. That is the fastest RAM on the market. Obviously, the graphics are handled by that wonderful AMD Radeon RX 7900 XTX graphics card, and the operating system will be installed on the 2 terabyte Samsung 980 Pro NVMe M.2 SSD you saw us install earlier. It's being cooled by an Enermax Liqmax 3 ARGB 360 closed-loop liquid cooler, plus 10 Gamdias Aeolus M2 RGB fans. All of this is, of course, powered by an 850-watt EVGA Supernova GT 80+ Gold power supply. So nicely done. Congratulations. That is awesome. Now, for those of you who are not aware, our show comes in 2 pieces. We are going to, when we come back from our break, we are going to go head on with Zack. Zack's going to take us through a process of building several different machines today, and you'll be able to ask him questions as well. So if you're loving what you're seeing, stick around. There's a lot more. This show, of course, happens every Tuesday and Thursday, with the exception of next week because of PAX. The Tuesdays and Thursdays show start at 11 a.m. Pacific. That's 2 Eastern, right here at CLX Gaming TV on Twitch. You can also check out our social medias at YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter at CLX Gaming, and head over to the CLX Gaming Discord. It's discord.gg/CLX Gaming. For all of us in production, that is Jason and Kyle, along with Paul and Zack, I'm your host, DJ BluePDX. Don't go away. We've got more coming up after the break. We'll be right back.
Thanks, everyone.